I've done a bit more detail work since yesterday. Where this knot is, I've reduced the sapwood basically with a rasp and a round file all around the knot, but you can see there's hints of heartwood showing there. I haven't gone down ridiculously, but I didn't want a great big bulge up here that would make the bow too stiff. I've also tried to get the belly to follow it a little bit, but I've overdone it a whisker, so I've put for leave there to remind me don't take any more wood off there. So this was then in danger of becoming a weak point because I hadn't worked down the rest of the limb. So I had a look at this. There was rather a lot of sapwood, so I took off some more sapwood, but left it at the tip where my temporary knock is, just, you know, so I don't weaken it too much there. And to do this, I rasped in this way, just with a coarse rasp, and then with the spoke shave took the rest of the sapwood down. Now it's deceptive at the tip because the heartwood is curving over, and this tip was quite a bit wider. And where the heartwood came down to almost nothing, it looked like it was all sapwood. But as I reduce the width this way, this line of heart and sap will actually come upwards and look a lot more even. So I don't need to worry that I've got too much sap here and not enough heart. When the bow's finally finished, it'll be sitting in that middle area like that. I've left this knot sticking up quite a bit, because I can always cut it down later. I can leave it as a feature, whatever. I've also thought I don't really want an £80 bow, 70 is probably plenty, and why risk making it over heavy just to prove I can at the risk of having it explode. I mean, I've done that too many times, have bows explode. Actually, the point I was making about the heart and sap applies there probably. It looks like I've not got much heartwood, but if I went deeper into the bow, you'd probably find it was fine. And while we're here, someone was asking about the pith line in a small diameter stave. Well, you can see there it's fairly central, but it's off to one side a bit there. And as we progress up this limb, you can see it's right over here, and would probably follow along. You know, here's the sort of line of it probably. It's that thing about following the grain of a bow sideways, you know, along the length of it, you know, from side to side, and also about chasing a ring on the back. Yes, you need to do that with some woods, like Osage specifically, and I think that's where most of it comes from, this idea, because, you know, there's a lot of input from America, and that's where they use an awful lot of Osage. But with yew, you can get away with a bit of wandering. So here I've just laid the bow out straight and ignored the fact that there's this curve here. You know, I haven't gone wild, but well, you can see from the angle there, it's a pretty gentle angle. So here it's nominally at the centre line, and it almost runs out there. Well, that's about a foot, so it's a pretty gentle angle. Oh, and these funny features here, I think they're just shallow knots. They were knots growing from the centre round about here somewhere, growing out this way, and they've virtually gone. That's my guess anyway. They don't seem to go particularly deep. I'll fill them, but they may well have disappeared. That's about it. She's ready to pop back up on the tiller again. That's a bit naughty. That's where I clamped it to straighten it out. The clamp was pressing on there hard and bruised the sapwood, but I've got plenty of depth of sapwood, and that'll all get cleaned up. It's another mark there. I may do further straightening later. I have got a still pic of what it was like when I started, which I'll post at the end of the final video showing her before and after, but you can see she's still got that hint of deflex going on, and it may well pull out more as I tiller the bow, but once it's about, you know, 3/4 finished, say it's braced and pulling 20 inches or so, then I can see about straightening it some more, maybe heat treat it to fix in the steam bend, because steam bends can tend to work their way out again. Anyway, enough blethering. I'll have a quick shufty on the tiller just to see the effect of the work I have done. Right, I'm just going to have a look and see the effect of the work I've done. I've not done a lot, but looking down it where there were bulges out on the side, I've taken those off, narrowed the tip a little bit, mostly at this end, tidied up round this knot, thinned it here. Some of you might notice she's sitting a bit flatter on the tiller despite me pulling above the arrow pass, but that's just due to the localised curvature here. It's neither here nor there basically. So let's just have a quick look. I don't expect to see a lot of difference, but it's no good not tillering it for ages and ages, doing a load of work and then putting it on the tiller and finding you've totally screwed it up. So much better to look off and yeah, I can't see a huge change. Let's see where it's moving. I think the very tip of the outer's moving a bit more. It's certainly not weak by that knot. I don't know if it's stiff there or it's just my eye, but I haven't done any harm. Yeah, that wasn't particularly edifying, so I decided I'll pull it a bit further. If I take it to 75, and then I'll get some sort of idea what the tool weight is at the moment. There we go, 75. at 21. That's giving me roughly, I don't know, about 110 at 30. That's not mental arithmetic, I just did it on the calculator. So it just gives me a feel for how much I've got to play with. So yeah, it's a heavy bow at the moment. I've got quite a lot of wood to take off. Some of those bits I was worried about will end up disappearing as I remove wood. And I now know, I've got an idea how much I can dig in on with the draw knife on the shave horse. You know, there's no point fiddling, doing little scrapes here and there and fiddling and fettling. We're not at that stage yet. It's got to come down substantially yet. But I can look at the video, look at the basic shape of it. Is it basically even? If it's basically even, I can take it off evenly everywhere. If there's areas that need work, I can go a little bit heavier there. Basically I've got to take, you know, £20 off it at least. And I've got a feel for what that requires. I mean, the two hardest things about making bows are getting your eye in to that curve. If you can't see if it's even, then you've just got no chance of making the bow. And if it's gone madly out of kilter, you mustn't overstrain it. So you've got to recognise when it's out of balance fairly early and do something about it. The other thing is, how much wood do you take off to achieve a desired result? Those two things you'll only get with practice and feel and the rest of it. So, and if you make a bad one or it doesn't work or it blows up, don't beat yourself up, learn from it, do a bit more. And you'll get one, oh, it's got a bit of a hinge here, well work it down until it hasn't got a hinge. Alright, you wanted a £50 bow and it may end up as a £30 bow. Doesn't matter. Proceed, do the work, learn from it. If you get to a certain point and you screw up, if you just throw it in the corner and pick up another one, you'll get to the same point and screw it up. got to learn how to progress. See it right through to the end if you can, even if it's a shootable bow of 20 pounds and it only lasts for 20 shots. It's still better than having thrown it on the scrap heap. You mark my words, young man.